81K BTC and another choppy day out there. We had some bullish CPI data come out, but what does this mean? The market hasn't exactly acted very favorably to the news since it was released. So guys, we're going to talk about the chances of a massive dump now after this bullish news has come out. We're going to look at a couple of BTC scenarios, then we're updating some of the absolute bangers from yesterday, and we're going to cover you with so many else. So as usual, let's get right into this. And remember, guys, as always, hit the like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. And I was trying to pick the right outfit for today, and I went with a white hat. I'm feeling a little bit bearish, and this white hat successfully dumps the market more often than not. And then I did go with proper degen here. So let's see if this is going to help some of the vibes here today. We got James in the house as well. Also, as confused as everybody else is at the moment. Up, down, up, down. We're going to talk about this in a minute. Then Banter Bubbles, I was saying I wasn't complaining because we had a few bangers yesterday, but looking super green. And it's looking a lot greener than it feels actually at the moment while we find our feet and while the market tries to decide what comes next. So if you take a look at what's going on here, Celestia has woken up. PEPE, I'm actually covering that one today. Is it time to pay attention to a little bit of PEPE? We got some whales buying this thing. I mean, are they mad? But anyway, we're going to look. We're going to see if this is the right call. And then all around a little bit of greenery. So some of those trades we got yesterday were beautiful. We had a lovely FARTCOIN trade this morning in hackers that we're going to cover. We're going to see if we can get you with another FARTCOIN banger. It might be a short if we are going to short it, but we're going to see what we can get out of that for you guys. So let's start with BTC and let's see the level of fuckery that they have given us today. So obviously, as expected, I was saying yesterday, if we pump into CPI, you generally look for sells. And if you dump into CPI, the general rule of thumb is to look for buys. So what happened today? Everything started turning green and everybody started getting excited. There was some bullish CPI data and then we popped into resistance and lo and behold, we had a little sell-off. So I think we see that time and time again in the market. And just for those interested, we did cover a lot of these levels yesterday, but just note here, look at that. We've got our VWAP from the highs. We've got our 0.5. We've got our horizontal, and this was 84,600. So this was our target for the upside that I dropped to hackers this morning as well. This was one of our upside targets, the big one for me. And I still suspect we can go there. Okay, so that is why I'm holding on to a couple of these longs. The big one for me is 86.5. Now, that is the CME gap as well. So that is quite a big zone. So if there is some kind of a, another bullish tweet or something like that out of Uncle Donald, we're going to talk about this mess. But we might get one more push to close that CME gap before they potentially send us down. So 84,600 is your level to watch. Then 86 to 86.5 is what I'm going to be watching to the upside. Not going to look much higher than that. I mean, if we absolutely have to, we'll start navigating our way up there. But for now, not expecting much more than that. And then in terms of downside, now this is where it gets interesting. We're kind of in no trade zone in terms of where the degens are right now. So an area of interest for me to the downside is going to be 79,500. Why is that interesting? It's our big VWAP from, this was our August VWAP. Then we've got our 618. We've also got a wick fill in the zone. So it would make sense to me if they want to just push this down and then give us some kind of pop out of that zone. So 79.5, call it 79.5. That makes sense to me over there. And then obviously, ultimately, we can look at this lower wick fill as well for some kind of bounce out of the market. Now, none of these bounces need to take us to new highs. They can just give us nice little trades there. And I see Panda, he says 34-year-old kidney for sale, mint condition. Urgent sell. He wants to short this dip. Well, he caught a nice short for us yesterday, Panda. Thank you, sir. Printed a little bit on that cash short, so thank you very much. But just closing in on BTC here, guys. 76, that's your low. Okay, so 76,600. That is probably your next potential reaction zone there before hell awaits. Okay, so once we start losing those levels, we're going to hell, and we're going to start pulling out the chart that shows us 52k, 53k. In fact, I've got that chart for you today. We're gonna look at it. James's eyes really popping out of his head. he didn't like that.
No.
We're just telling jokes here, are we? Aren't we? Okay, we're going to see now. We're going to see. Okay, so BTC, this is your interim short-term levels. This is the ones I'm paying attention to. So you got 2 on the upside, you got 2 on the downside. Watch those areas. And then just a note for everybody, obviously my trusted companion here, okay, the oscillator that you're going to find about if you do my accelerator course, you're going to get the full instruction as to how to work this thing. But this thing showing slight bearish divergence here now as well. So you could see it triggered a nice push to the upside when it printed the bullish divergence. Now at the moment on the 2 hour, you can see what's going on here. We've got a lower high on our oscillator. We got a higher high on our price. There are odds stacking in our favor that we might get a roll over here on BTC, at least in the short term. And that obviously can accelerate to bigger things if we start losing levels and the market starts panicking. So a couple of signs here, you know, not ready for longs just yet on this BTC, but you might get something at these 2 lower levels, slight little reactions there to the downside. Okay. And guys, remember all these charts that you see on the show, I drop in Chart Hackers directly afterwards. So you'll have access to all of these. And then obviously in Chart Hackers, I update BTC all day long and I drop trades and all these things, which I'm going to show you what went down today. Now, let's talk liquidations. Wow. I always feel so relaxed when I see it's under $500 million. Like, whoo, so relaxing. They only wiped out $380 million today. Now, I suspect there were a lot of late longers. I suspect so many people aped in on the bullish CPI news. Now, guys, watch the show because we don't do that, okay? We don't behave that way, okay? We're smarter than that, okay? So we don't ape in on bullish CPI. We measured. We let these things come to us, okay? Then let's look at this. Fear and greed going up 34, okay? So I suppose that's kind of bullish. They're getting less fearful with the current situation. And Nick says, but what is the name of the indicator on TradingView? Nick, the best way to do this, bro, do the accelerator course. Okay, do my accelerator course. I teach you all the TA, and I'm going to hook you up with the oscillator, instructions on that thing. I'm going to hook you up with all sorts of other cool shit, including my new hot zone indicator that is busy being developed, and we are 99% complete. Okay, I'm going to show you that hot zone indicator. It takes all the work out of the equation for you. Okay, but you're going to find all of this in the accelerator school. Okay, let's go. So the big news today, CPI. Now, look, it was expected. Okay, so firstly, 2.8%. Yes, well done. That's super bullish and that's nice. So the market got excited. Why did the market pump green into CPI? Because everybody knew that this is what was expected. Here it is. And all the big banks and everybody was forecasting that they were going to beat this session, okay? And that's what everybody started pricing in for that first initial bounce in the market. Now, obviously, things can start working out a little bit later. I mean, it's always nice to have bullish CPI because it can tell you a couple of things. So it could be a catalyst for something, but we need somebody else to come to the party now. But in terms of the CPI trade, it came out pretty much what everyone was expected. So this is the exact word for word instruction of what you guys need to do on CPI data. So in case you were confused, this is going to sort you out completely now. Okay. If CPI inflation is lower than expected, sell stocks. We're entering a recession. But if CPI inflation is higher than expected, sell stocks because rate cuts are cancelled. But if CPI inflation is as expected, sell stocks, inflation is not falling. Okay, so you guys got the clear instruction of what to do with CPI. Okay, now...
Where's the sell everything mean? You have it up there, don't you?
We need to fucking sell everyone. We need, we need one of those. We need.
It's on the chart hackers. You pull it up. It's on there. Diogo posted it.
Is it in our? Okay, well, we'll find it when we pull up that chart hackers Twitter. So, guys, basically nobody fucking knows. Okay, and you can see 𝗙𝗆𝗄𝐵𝐶 later. So that is why my rule of thumb is green into CPI, look for sells. Red into CPI, look for buys. And this applies to any type of major event or news. Leading into a major event, if it's red, you buy it. If it's green, you fucking sell it. That's the rules, okay? And it works more often than not, okay? So keep it really simple. And this is James, by the way. And everyone gets excited for a 1% pump in the markets based on CPI. But give it a minute because Uncle says, don't get too excited. I have some breaking news for you. Now, what is coming next? I mean, this guy, yeah, it's scary because if he does open his mouth and says something bullish, I mean, that could be quite fun for us, you know? So we kind of want him to be engaged a little bit. Bar chart says now the odds of an interest rate cut at next week's Fed meeting have plummeted to 1%. So let's go back to our important chart here, because I'm sure there's one of these as well that tells you what to do when the betting or when the expectations drop on interest rates as well. So it's probably sell, 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 or buy, 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 or confusion all over the place. But anyway, the odds are 1% of an interest rate cut now coming through, and that's not very good. Okay, we prefer 99%. Okay. But remember, the market might react to a surprise. So that could be interesting, where we might sell into that, for example, and then we get some kind of surprise and we start pumping. And Pegless says Uncle Donald. Well, it is Uncle Donald. Am I wrong? I believe it. It's correct. So 𝗵𝗍𝗍 now, I can't deal with this, James. I mean, the US is no longer doubling tariffs on. Oh, we looked at this yesterday. No, this is the US won't impose 50% tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminium. Oh, we looked at this one yesterday. What I wanted to show you guys was the latest electricity tariff. Where's this thing? Where's that? Okay, we're gonna have to find it now. Okay, we're gonna find the electricity tariff thing now. Okay, that is what I wanted to show you, and that was linked to this Uncle Donald tweet. So it's very important that you see this one. Oh, yes, this is it, James. Okay, the US is no longer doubling tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminium to 50% after Ontario suspended their 25% electricity tariff, per The Guardian. Now, yesterday they were going to cut the power.
Yeah, that was the drama yesterday. Trump put an extra 25% tariffs on aluminum and steel. Aluminium and steel.
Yeah.
And so then Doug Ford put this 25% tariff on electricity going to the northern US.
Yes.
And then Trump came out and said, I'll fucking end you. And so then they all pulled back. I guess Lutnick had a call with the Premier of Ontario, and they're going to have a meeting in D.C. There's a delegation from Canada going to D.C. within the next couple of days. They're supposed to talk about all these issues to try and stop this up, down, back, forth, on, off
it's
bullshit.
Disgusting. It's disgusting.
It's killing us.
So this is, guys, this is why this market is so choppy, and it's so hard to call a direction. What we do know is we've got a magnet at 70K, 70, 73. We know that's a magnet, and 90 to 95 we know is major resistance. But anything in between is just news related, and it's sparking on all of this
that's
drama.
Why everyone's so scared and so afraid to get into positions, because they know there's just this waiting around the corner any minute.
It's one word, and things change. So this was very interesting. Now, this is the Bulwark showing this on Twitter. Have you ever paid a tariff? The reporter is now asked, okay, what's her name? Levitt. Okay, listen to this. Okay, listen to this. She got very upset.
Have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have.
They
don't get charged on foreign companies. They get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press.
She's angry. But look, there's an argument. I'm not an economist, okay? But
she's angry because she had to lie. And then they called her out on the lie. That's why
tariffs are paid by the consumer of the importing nation. So it just means that they're going to be buying less ultimately from these other countries, because it's going to start getting expensive. So your internal retail guys won't be able to afford it, and they'll start buying local stuff. That's the whole theory. But
if there's local stuff, and there isn't local stuff, and that's the problem. The U.S. is the biggest importer in the world. They've got the largest consumer economy in the world.
And if there's local stuff,
yeah, if there's local stuff, they can buy it, but it'll cost more money, but it doesn't even exist to buy, because manufacturing doesn't exist right now.
Okay. Well, luckily for everybody, this is a DGen leverage trading show, and I'm wearing the DGen leverage trading show. Okay. So we can debate this shit all day long. But look, guys, it's a mess. That's all I got to say. Okay. So here's a ballsy move from the Canadians. Now, James will know because he's a dual citizen, so he can tell us if this is still on the table. But by selling US bonds, they are directly attacking the Trump admin's goals of bringing down bond yields. Remember, he wants to crash the market, to bring down the bond yields, do all these types of things. And now Canada are trying to sell their bonds. They're the sixth biggest bondholder of US treasuries. Is this still happening?
Well, I mean, Canada officially put in an application because they have to file with the Canadian government for permission to sell the bonds. They're not going to do this. This is just more posturing, more bullshit, another underhanded threat, because that's Trump's goal here with this whole tank in the economy, is to get people to buy bonds, which brings the price down, which allows him to refinance the debt cheaper. So if they go and sell the bonds, it's the opposite of what he's after. This hurts more than anything. to him and what his
hurt.
plan
It's
is.
gonna fucking wreck everything. If they 6th in the world in size, I mean, that is it's a nice trump card. See what I did there?
Yeah, nice trump card. Yeah.
Let's get into the S&P, guys. Okay, so S&P, how is it responding? So yesterday we know we lost major horizontal support, and we were talking about a possible S&P target down here, 5,400 and 5,100. Those are our potential S&P targets, and I said yesterday, subject to we could get lots of pumps in between. Okay, so I see I've lost my 200-day MA. Can come back here. Come back. Let's see if we can put it back on. There's the 100. Wait, let's get this thing. How'd it go missing like that? Okay, why did it go missing? Don't go missing. Okay, well, I gotta get my colors right. Okay, so we've lost our 200-day MA. It was this guy over there yesterday, and now we've lost some major horizontals. So even if we pump up, I would be super cautious around 5.8. That region looks like trouble for me. And if we get some bullish move out of some headline or stuff, and then there's no follow through, I suspect the S&P starts dropping lower. Now, we don't know where the bottom is for them. We don't know what their intent is or what their intention is. We can just use the charts, but based on what I've seen, this looks like the most obvious path now for the next move. So 5,400 does make sense to me, subject to a pump to the upside. So if we reclaim 5.8, and we can have that discussion during the end of the week or early next week. If we are doing that, then we've got a new strategy in play. But right now, that's pretty bearish for me, what we're looking at on the S&P. So not responding that well. And then Jim Cramer urges investors to stay bullish after the market drawdown. Okay, so now who trades inverse Cramer here?
You know that you have to do some buying because, well, it's been right since 1979. So I have to ask you something. Are you willing to bet that this time it's wrong? Alex says there's always a bull market somewhere. I promise I'll find it just for you. We know.
Now, look, he's got a good point. Are you really okay? So we know everyone likes to inverse trade. And what I'd love to see is actually data on when he gets it right. I don't think he gets enough credit for getting it right. I'm sure he gets it right on occasion. But in terms of what we're looking at, yes, sir.
You know there's an actual inverse Cramer index, right? That you can buy.
Yes.
It's just the index, his opposite calls, and it has like an 80% return rate. It's amazing.
We'll bring it tomorrow. Will you find it?
We need to find it
tomorrow. Okay, we'll share it tomorrow. Okay, so guys, in terms of what Cramer is saying, yes, he's saying, he didn't say buy everything in ape, okay? But I mean, yeah, I think lower down there are targets for the S&P, for example. But yeah, if you're a DCA and you're a long-term investor and things like that, sure, go for it, okay? But in terms of degen leverage trades, I suspect we might get this thing lower, or we're going to be trading this thing a little bit higher. Okay, so here's Wall Street saying, save the date. Moon to turn blood red on March 14th. Lunar eclipse. Now, this doesn't sound good, but what we did see was information earlier this month. We looked at M2 money supply. We looked at slingshots and all these types of things on Bitcoin catching up. And there was a couple of tweets and a little bit of information telling us that from about the 24th or 25th of March, they were looking for some kind of big snapback bounce on BTC. Now, this might be the start of maybe one more flush out. If you're a Moonie and you believe in the moon situation, this might be a negative thing for you. I don't know what a blood red moon looks like. I can't wait to find out. But we'll have to see. So there's the warning bells for the Moonies out there. And then I just wanted to touch on this one again, because we're going to look at this BTC daily chart. And we spoke about this yesterday. And this is important. Social media showing a massive level of fear with Bitcoin being associated with sub 70K levels at the highest rate since Feb, the 27th crash. The true capitulation point will be when the low prices, 50 to 69K, are getting predicted on social media with little mention of the higher prices. Okay, so are we there yet? I don't know. I don't think we're there yet. I mean, I've started. Today I'm going to talk about 50K. So I've actually started the process. So maybe, we're on social media now. Maybe we're going to get a little bit of traction. Yes, sir.
No 50s not allowed.
It's possible. I want to show you. Okay, I want to show you. Hang in there. I'm going to show you guys why this is interesting. Now, Michael Saylor might try and save the day, but remember, he gives us a couple of pumps. He says big things are coming. Now, we don't know if it's for him. Maybe he's having another baby. Maybe he's getting a puppy, or maybe there's.
I mean, he just put out that stock offering, $21 billion in Master, right? So in MicroStrategy stocks. So that means to me he intends on buying more Bitcoin. But every time he buys, we actually dump. It does the opposite every time. Yeah.
Okay, so we know he's a newsman. And then I wanted to cover this because Tesla had an almighty pump. Now, the reason I'm happy to watch this video again, because I love that slapping beat in the background. So I thought, let's watch this again. Now, you guys saw Tesla absolutely falling over the last couple of days. We were looking for a buy. We were looking for our entries on Tesla. I was saying I'm expecting a snapback bounce on this thing because these woke guys are giving us an entry. When you see wokies protesting outside your car dealership, that's a fucking entry coming. And this is what I was saying yesterday, but also I just enjoyed the beat. So let's hear it again. How's that beat? Okay, so we had this drama yesterday, and what does Uncle Donald come and do? Okay, they come and save the day. So now Tesla has been rescued. Okay,
as a function of the great policies of President Trump and his administration, and as an act of faith in America, Tesla is going to double vehicle output in the United States within the next 2 years. Double.
Big deal.
Tesla is going to double output in the USA.
What I don't understand.
And they basically saved the chart. Okay, so let's take a look what happened to Tesla. Bang. Okay, so it is, Teddy. It's 100% the woke indicator. When the woke guys are protesting outside your store and your price is dumping, that smells like an entry. And I said that yesterday. We had Tesla dropping into a great fucking zone, and this was going to be the ultimate revenge trade. I had my orders ready and waiting, and it front ran my orders, and I'm a bit upset. So if anybody, okay, including Matt, yes, sir.
You know what's funny? This comment here, the president is not allowed to drive. They're literally not allowed to. It's against the law for the president to drive for security purposes, whatever else. So he can drive his little Tesla around the circular drive at the White House, and that's it. He's not allowed to leave the property in a car.
That's fine. He'll have fun in it. So, guys, just in terms of Tesla, I know Matty was also looking for an entry yesterday. And look, my entries were waiting. I had them on BTCC. They were a little bit lower down, and they were prepped and ready. Okay, so we had them ready there at 210 and 215, and now it's front run our zone. So, look, some of you guys, maybe you're a little bit more degen than me. Maybe you started grabbing some of that yesterday. I see Matty says he missed the entries as well. But, guys, it was an absolute banger zone, and unfortunately, we missed it by a couple of dollars there. What was the low? 216 was the low, and we've missed it by a little bit there. So doesn't mean it's not coming back. Obviously, this was now a news pump, so we could get a move into our resistance zone, and then we probably have a second crack at this thing. It might even look something like that along the way. So just be patient. We will catch this one when it's ready, but just hang in there, guys. Okay, so don't FOMO now. You can see your risk reward now is a hell of a lot smaller, but the whole move was aiming for about 20 to 25% pump. But I think today we've already got like 15%. So nice little mover. And just a reminder again, for everybody that if we're trading stocks, okay, like they can actually outperform some of these shit coins, especially when the market is not going well. So that is why I'm bringing you stock trading on BTCC. So if you want to trade stocks with me, just go into the show description. So go under there into the show description. And you're going to see, well, let's just go under the show description. There we go. Okay, bang. And that is where you're going to find BTCC. So sign up here and trade some stocks with me, and they are going to give you some free money to trade with. Deposit $200 and get $175 free. Okay, so unlock all their things and do whatever, and use your first free money to trade some stocks with us. So in Hackers, we've actually opened up a stonks channel, so that has actually started, and we're doing a bit of gold and things there as well. You can see here on the left hand side, you can see all our channels here, but we've now opened stonks and gold, and we're doing oil and those types of things as well, and you're going to trade all of that on BTCC with us. Okay, so that is that. Now guys, let's get into crypto. Let's get into the juicy stuff. Now are we getting a bounce here? It looks like we're getting a little bounce in the market, so this is going to be interesting. And I see James is rolling his eyes because, you know, we get desperate. We get a 1% bounce and we get excited at the moment in these conditions. But in terms of BTC on the weekly, guys, keep it really, really simple. Okay, you can see your major resistance zones. Okay, you can see the big areas here that can give us trouble. So anybody, you know, trading higher time frames, you can see these are your big bands, your trouble zones. So, you know, any pumps here on the weekly chart, 89K, non-euphoria zone, not allowed. 91K, no euphoria zone, not allowed. 95K, no euphoria zone, not allowed. Okay, so all these areas are actually still bearish for me. So any moves into that zone, I am still predicting, or not predicting, I'm projecting, or some kind of lower high here, and then we'll go and send this thing back to hell. So that is kind of what I'm looking at. And Rahul says BTC 100K by this weekend. Well, fuck, Rahul, that will be incredible. And our bags will come alive and everything will pump. So just make sure you are ready to trade some breakouts. Now, yesterday I gave you some breakout trades. We had some nice moves out of those things. We've banked a couple of profits. I've left a couple open in case. You always want to leave 1 or 2 open in case there's some action, and you always want to grab a couple of head shorts in the hot zone. So we're going to go through a couple of those ones for you guys as well now in a sec. Now let's talk BTC lower levels before, and I don't want to scare anybody, but I thought let's keep it as simple as possible. Let's pull out the absolute banger, okay, which is our 618. From the absolute lows, okay, on November the 14th, okay, the lows, 15K, whatever that was. We pull our fibs from the lows to the highs. Look where our 618 is sitting, 51,500. Now, you guys have heard me tell you that a 618 is a magnet. And if this was a 15-minute chart, James, he's shaking his head. If this was a 15-minute chart, we would say, well, that's possible, because what typically happens is we get our highs, we hit a 382, we get some kind of bounce, and then ultimately we come back to the 618 before we get some kind of bullish move. Now, if you watch this on 5-minute candles, 15-minute candles, you'll see this type of thing can often play out. So I'm just going to put this here. I'm going to sprinkle the 618 down here at 51.5. That will also be the most magnificent wick fill as well to the downside. And now we are actually starting this whole thing for sentiment here. Bang. And we're talking about 50 to 69K, and hopefully now I've called the bottom, right? Have I taken the first leap to try and bounce this market? Okay, so that is what I'm going for there. So 51, yes, it's on the table. Now let's go to slightly higher things. Where do we get our next play? What is our move? So just to cover what I'd like to see, and this was obviously this pump into this big bearish zone there. So if we get that rejection, then we're going to be looking for longs down here, okay, at this 73 to 69K zone. I expect pretty nice bounces in that region as well, and then we'll see how we go. Again, we'll have some resistance ahead of us, and then we might just be churning a little bit lower as well. So that starts becoming a possibility. So remember, step by step, let's look for moves off these key zones. You can see the CME gap low was a key zone. We got a bounce. Okay, now we'll look a little bit lower for a bounce when we get there, and so on. Okay, but make sure there's 2 ways. Watch the show every day, because I cover this shit literally every day. And if you're in Chart Hackers, well, we're going to cover you on all of this stuff as well. And I've got the most incredible team of traders in there, and they're going to keep you busy all day. Longs, shorts, whatever you need, the guys have got you there all day long, okay, including some amazing memes from this man, okay? So supplying great stock for you guys as well. Okay, guys, let's get into action. Okay, so BTC, you know the drill. You know what we're looking for there, and let's go. Let's talk altcoins. Marty Party says, since I've been tracking market regulators, he's never seen 24 ETF-related SEC actions in one day. Okay, so they're actually breaking records here. While the market's falling over, while everyone's getting bearish, the SEC is really waking up. This is the new SEC is accelerating crypto regulation to make up for lost time. So that's pretty positive for the market as a whole. Okay, so that is looking good. And then in terms of USDT dominance, you can see this current weekly candle. Let's hope this continues. Okay, looking a little bit undecided at the moment here. Obviously, as the whole market wants to see this thing drift a little bit lower and bounce at 4.8%. If we can get a push down to 4.8%, you probably get Bitcoin pushing into some nice big resistance zones. You probably get the alts pushing into some really nice areas where we can look for potential shorts. And 4.8%, that looks like a big zone for us there. So USDT dominance, let's let this thing come down. That'll be beautiful. If it does start pumping higher, what you need to do then is keep your eye on certain areas. If you're looking for a bounce or recovery in the market, all you need to do is watch some key zones. When we push into those areas, that is typically where you're going to get your relief or your relief rally or bounce out of these things. Okay, so just watch your resistance up ahead. And when you're feeling euphoric and the market and the USDT dominance is dropping, watch your main support. That is your danger zone for those altcoins. And then Bitcoin dominance still respecting a daily level. Okay, it's really putting us under pressure here. But you can see this is a daily resistance band. So in terms of short-term relief rally, anything. 61.6, we could get a big bounce there and damage the alts, or we push a bit lower, 61.2, nice little rally on alts, and then we have a big bounce at 61.2, 61%, somewhere around there. So if that plays out, you're going to get, again, another opportunity to take profit on these alts. You're going to get another opportunity to look for some head shorts as well if we pump into those zones. Okay, so tie in your Bitcoin dominance, these levels on support, and tie it in with your USDT dominance as well, dropping into those types of areas. Tie them in together, and then you've got a nice little recipe for where to take profit on your alts. Okay, so here's total 3 as well. This thing a little bit bearish now. Now, we've lost the 200-day moving average, so this is obviously a concern. The 200-day MA is this light blue line you can see over here. We like this to be support. That keeps us, relatively bullish. Underneath 3, it can be considered bearish. So we have dropped and lost a couple of levels. We had our 709 or 700 billion as our support now, and until we get a weekly close nicely above this region here, I'd be very careful with how we play things at the moment in terms of altcoins. And that takes me back to dominance and says look for exits or look for TPs when dominance is hitting these areas. Remember, if the market spikes and everything starts absolutely ripping and things like that, we're going to have so many like micro pullbacks on these alts, mini pullbacks. We're going to have so many opportunities to long the shit out of these things. So don't panic. You don't need FOMO. Okay. And let's see what Tim says. I'm letting the bulls out the cage tomorrow. Well, that'll be fun. That'll be nice, Tim. We got PPI tomorrow. I mean, we could get another surprise. You never know. James rolling his eyes again, not happy. Okay, let's go. ETH, let's talk ETH. ETH falls to its lowest valuation relative to Bitcoin since May 2020. Disgusting. Okay, as we know, ETH is an absolute dog shit coin at the moment. Again, stand to be corrected. Gordon says a whale just opened a 50x long on ETH worth 140 million. Okay, is he a psycho, this guy? Okay, 140 million on a 50x. Okay, perhaps expecting positive CPI news. Hopefully he TP'd. Okay, I mean, fucking hell, that's quite a big number. And Alex Becker dropping this. He says this is us in 6 months when ETH actually hits 80,000. Oh, I can't play this music. I'm gonna get struck on this music. Hold on. Wait, let's turn this down. I just absolutely love this guy. There he is. Look at him. He's sexy. Look at that. Look at that. Did you say thank you? Did you say thank you? That is us, guys. That is us when it eventually pumps. Okay, that's the plan. Here's my ETH plan right in front of you. No changes here. They're going to come and liquidate me here, or they're sending me to 2-1. I've got a sell order at 2,099 preset. Okay, they must pump me up here. They must take me out of this disgusting ETH position, and then they can send it lower. So that's my ideal situation. And our support on ETH, you can see 1745 is our current support marker for anybody that is still trading ETH. Anybody left out there, guys, let me know in the chats. Anybody actually trading ETH, or am I literally the only one trading these things? And Z News says long, then short, then long again. Most likely. Okay, most likely. And JR says he's got some longs going. And let's see. What else? And Carl says it's Chucky. It's Chucky all grown up. And Sayed says he'd love to have that music. I can't play that music. They're going to copyright me here. Okay, so ETH 2-1, guys. 2-4, upside, downside, 1745. Then you've got 1-5. That's your levels. Okay, that's pretty much what I'm watching. Call it 1-6 to 1-5. And then don't forget, we got our Ethereum liquidation station here. 1,000. The Ethereum Foundation gets licked at 1,100. Okay, anyone want to lick the Ethereum Foundation? 1,100. That is where you are sending them, and that will be quite a bullish buy zone, I would guess. And then I think after that, ETH will actually just really rip. Okay, so Gert van Langen is really, guys, this guy, he's giving us some bear sauce here. Now, this is actually offensive. Anybody that likes Solana, anybody that holds Sol, this is quite offensive, okay? He says Sol on the weekly, double top, getting ready for its first experience with a recession, targeting less than $1. This is Oh my God. Now, the reason I'm laughing is not because I'm laughing at this guy, because in crypto, fucking anything is possible. Literally anything is possible in crypto. So nothing surprises me anymore, but just a beautiful chart that he's put here. And he says, meme season is over. Utility season inbound. See you guys below $1 for Solana. Okay, so yes, if this was a lower time frame chart, you might agree that this thing could fall over. A little bit of bearish divergence there.
FTX didn't even do this. I call bullshit on the $1 theory. Yeah, no. Maybe 10, but not 1.
He says 75% of transactions fail on Sol. Now, I don't know. I don't know anything about Sol, actually, how it operates. So I just trade them. Okay, so yeah, Radium will be at 0.000001, says Tony. Even lower than that. Okay, Zen likes Sol at 80. Now, let's see what my charts actually have to say. We're going to play this step by step. So let's keep it civilized here. Okay, so Sol, what do we know? We know right now we're on a major weekly support. We've got a major order block. We've got our macro 618 as well. So we all agree that this is a big zone, 110 to 122. We understand that this was going to be a bounce zone, and that is how we played this week. Okay, so we've got a nice move here. Short term, if we get a bounce on Sol, I'm still expecting something bearish out of this thing. Okay, so I am expecting lower levels at some point, and we might get to a stage where everyone's feeling euphoric and we're pushing 160, 170, and everybody quickly forgets that this is possible. Okay, so anything, yeah, Sol, 86 to 79 makes sense to me. 69 makes sense to me as well. These are big zones that we can watch, and it will be pretty interesting to see what happens when this thing eventually reverses. This is our weekly oscillator. So this could take multiple weeks before this thing actually reverses and starts printing to the upside. So definitely interesting times ahead here for us on Sol. Okay, so don't write anything off. And Marcy says he's going to buy Sol at 95. Probably a good area. Yeah, it's a good area as well. I like it. Anything 86 to 79 looks good to me. That's a beautiful wick fill as well. But if you're DCAing, guys, you just DCA on big zones, big weekly zones. That's where you accumulate. That's where you do those things. If you're doing degen shit, well, you got to be a little bit more careful. So, guys, Sol. Let's talk Sol. And here's our degen setup from yesterday. So we had quite a good move out of Sol. I mean, it wasn't like the best pumper, but it did give us a result into a reaction zone. Look at that. We got our VWAP danger zone here. Look at that. And our VWAP came into play, and a beautiful little rejection. Look at that. Straight into that VWAP for the rejection. Our target was this VWAP and 132. So that region for the rejection. Now, this is time where the bulls need to step in. You can see we've got a double top on our oscillator. It's not quite bearish divergence, but there is a double top there at the moment. And we can't write this off yet as a bullish mover to the next big zone. But what we can do is just play these things accordingly. So what you do in these situations, if you still got some longs open from yesterday, you go lows to the highs, you pull that fib up, and you start looking for some bullish areas, okay? And yesterday, our big zone was 115. We wanted to hold. Now you can see we can adjust this thing a little bit more. So now we can say 119 is our next bull line in the sand that we want to see hold. So that would be our ideal situation. Our dream scenario is dip in here and then a nice big push into our banger short zone up there, and then that could be the one that sends us to that 79.80 level potentially, because we know this region at 137, 138 is quite a strong danger zone for us on Sol. So these are the two big ones. 137, 138, even 140, guys, and then 148 to 150. Those are the big ones. They remain strong danger zones until proven otherwise. So let it play out. If we do get a bullish pump here, you remain long. And then you look at 137 to 140. That's your TP zone. That's a possible head short zone. Remember, all of these zones that you see here are reaction zones. Okay, these are all these areas where you should be TPing if you long, or ideally opening head shorts, or just looking for shorts in these areas. These are typical reaction zones that you look at, and you try and tie these in with your oscillators. You look for pumps into these things, and then you look for your oscillators on lower time frames, and you try and pick up where they are reversing. Look at that. Lots of reversal signals here. And Matt, he's still short Sol 170. Matt, that's a banger, bro. Really. I think you're good. If you get a hard pump out of Sol, you could probably add to that potentially. But just an example here, guys, the same way you're looking for longs, you look for these reversals to the upside on the oscillator. It gives you very similar results. Okay, so Sol, guys, 119, watch that. That's your bull zone that you want to see hold. Upside levels you've got, those are your rejection zones. And then in terms of lower down, keep it really simple. Okay, just here's your wick. You can see your lows, 112. You know your weekly low is 109. Okay, so or call it 110. That is another one you're going to watch. Look at that, bang. This is your big zone. Okay, so 110 on this chart. That's that full order block plus your weekly wick as well in that region. So makes a lot of sense here. So if we don't hold 119, your next reasonable zone, 112, fill this wick. Let them come and take this out. Then you might get some kind of bounce here out of Sol. Alternatively, one more wick down into that big weekly zone there at the bottom. 12 to 110 makes sense for me. And then, guys, it gets filthy. Once we close under those types of levels, you're probably going to find it gets really ugly. Okay, let's just draw you a picture of what typically could happen here in a scenario like that. If we dip lower down, you're looking at something like this. Bang. Okay, you get a candle close, then you get some fake pump back up, and then they come and send this thing back down into your hell zone. Losing internet when trading is fun, says Kimmy. It doesn't sound very fun to me, especially if you long in the wrong way or short in the wrong way. What did he cancel his FARTCOIN trade? PMG, why did you cancel your FARTCOIN trade? Did anybody get that on Hackers today? Who got this FARTCOIN situation? We're going to go through it now in a sec. But guys, let me know, are there any hackers here that traded FARTCOIN with me this morning? Okay, let's look at a couple more things. What do we got? HBAR. I thought, let's talk HBAR. Okay, let's go. And HBAR social activity is up. HBAR has 1% of all crypto social activity today. Considering there's a gazillion tokens out there and 1% are talking about HBAR, well, I thought, okay, let's talk about this thing. What is actually happening? And the SEC acknowledges Grayscale HBAR ETF filing. And we saw earlier today, they're acknowledging a ton of things at the moment. So look, HBAR is here to stay. And what I want to give you guys is just some interesting levels here. And Dylan Thomas says keen on some words on pi. And I see that thing is that IP or pi, bro? Yeah, must be pi. I looked at that the other day. We'll revisit it. I don't know if we're going to have time today, but James, make a note there. In fact, you know what you guys can do? In the comments after the show, drop the tokens you want me to look at. Just drop what you want, as long as it's after the show, so I can come back and check. And then each day I can look at some of those tokens and pick one or two out of the comments for you. Okay, so it's actually quite easy. Just drop what you want. And then tomorrow when I'm prepping, I can look at that for you. So guys, let's talk HBAR. So yeah, okay. In terms of somebody who wants to hold this thing as a long-term gig, and you bullish on crypto as a whole, and you believe the market recovers after Trump's finished having his trade dance or whatever the fuck he's doing, levels you want to watch, 0.175, big DCA zone. Okay, very important zone that you want to pay attention to. That's where you can start accumulating. Next massive level, 1139. I do believe we go there. If this trade war continues and that S&P starts grinding lower, these alts are going to get wrecked. Okay, so 1138 makes sense to me as your next DCA zone. So all you want to do, if you're an accumulator, you just buy on these big zones and you bide your time. You wait. You stay very patient. You stay relaxed. You don't panic. Okay, you accumulate on the good zones because you know that this is crypto, and look what crypto does. Okay, look at these pumps out of the market at different times. Look at these moves here, 900% there. What did they give us there? What is this? 200 and something percent. You get these pumps out of these things at random times, 140%. We could go on all day on all these charts, 500%. So you know at some point, you accumulate on these zones. At some point you get a mega bounce. Then you do what you need to do. Sabina, do you like that? Do you like the trade dance? Okay, let's go. Guys, follow us on Hackers, okay, at the chart Hackers. There we go. You want alpha? You want cool stuff? Okay, obviously we post jokes and we post great shit, but there's a lot of setups here. Okay, there's a lot of setups for you guys. It's free alpha getting dropped here. Look at that. There's free alpha getting dropped here for you guys. Look at that. There's my levels from earlier today. Okay, here with the zones. So you would have played these zones. There was our zone that you had. If you were following the chart Hackers, you would have seen the Bitcoin zone update for this morning. Okay, so everything is here for you guys. Follow us, the chart Hackers. Okay, and you'll pick up a couple of things. Now, just talking about what we were doing in Hackers today, remember, this market is super choppy. And if you're trying to navigate it alone, obviously you can, and you'll be great at it, I'm sure. But if you're looking for people to cry with, people to laugh with, people to win with, and most importantly, people to lose with if you are feeling that things aren't going your way. We've got a beautiful community in there that we've put together for exactly these moments. When times are tough, you've got your buddies to rely on. We've got a beautiful team of traders in there, and we really want to help you guys become better traders. So that is, Hackers is where it's at, okay? And this is why we put this thing together. Yes, sir.
Just have to say a prime example from this morning. As the CPI data came in, candles are going up. Everyone's excited. Do we long now? Do we long? And our experienced guys in there saying, hold on. A lot of times these pump candles get retraced. Let's wait for some confirmation. U.S. market's going to open. So everybody was calm. They waited. And otherwise, they would have been wrecked because look what happened. Having that community there makes a world of difference.
Is the thing. So, guys, yeah, I mean, it's very important. And I know, guys, I've even got a light behind me that says chart hackers. Fuck, I know I go on about this, but it's important. This is your community. This is your thing that we built for you guys, okay? And I see, yeah, you guys like this thing. Ginda likes this as well. But in terms of what's going on in Hackers, now I've got a massive team in there. We've got Jay, we've got Panda scalping for you guys all fucking day. Literally, they'll keep you busy all day and on the weekends, okay? Then we've got Chaos, DJ and Dave. We've got the Chart Prime guys absolutely cooking in there as well. We got a guy called Rainier. We call him the surgeon. I mean, fuck me, that guy. He's accurate, okay? And he's in there as well. So, and obviously you get me. So I dropped a few trades today, but one of them was FARTCOIN. I said here this morning, guys, going to trade farts here. Okay, gave you the chart. I said, this is what's happening. So if you're following my channel in the Discord, it's here. Okay, the stuff's here. I give you a breakdown. I say why it's interesting to me. I say what it's looking for. And then we go. During the day, you can see there's your trade. Okay, so we had the money printer on there for FARTCOIN. So nice little banger there in terms of, short-term scalping. And now in terms, let's look at FARTCOIN again. In terms of this thing, I am still actually waiting for lower for the massive swing move on FARTCOIN. But what we do know about FARTCOIN is this thing moves like 10% very quickly. Okay, so you need a small position, you need an accurate entry within, say, 3 or 4%, and you get nice moves out of this thing if you can get it right in the hot zones. Okay, so we keep it super simple, and here's FARTCOIN. So I want to show you something cool, because I built this hot zone earlier today, okay, before I dropped the trade, and then I tested my hot zone indicator afterwards. So let's just see if it's still working now that this market's already pulled back. But I want to see where our zone was. Let's just get this in. I built this morning for you guys. It was there, okay, and I had my 618 sitting there on that banger there, and I had my VWAPs, and there were multiple reasons why this was looking interesting. We also had our bullish divergence printing, and things were looking nice, okay, for FARTCOIN. So we were leaning towards longs here for a dip in that zone. Let's see if my hot zone indicator still shows it. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so there it is. Okay, here's the hot zone indicator. Look at this little fire. Okay, look at this fire print that it gives you. So what it's doing, it's looking at combinations of candle structures. It's looking at combinations of all these other secret sauce things that I have in there, plus the other stuff that I use. So I'm trying to make your life so simple that you can just use the hot zone indicator. Okay, so you can take away pulling the fibs and all the VWAPs and all this other shit. It's, yeah, look at this. Look at this absolute little banger here. It gives you the flame in the area. And look at that. This was a new addition now. That second flame. And look at that. You're getting a reaction off the flame. Okay, so this is going nicely. We are in the final stages of getting, this thing absolutely perfected for you guys, but we're pretty much there. Okay, so obviously you'll be a beneficiary of this thing if you are doing the accelerator course. Okay, so just make sure you go into the show description and you sign up, you do the course. Okay, and I explain all my TA. I tell you how to use all of these things that we talk about every single day. Okay, so there it is. Now, let's see. Is there a trade for FARTCOIN? Now, just follow Anna Bangs. Anna is our fart queen. She sits in the chats in the trading zone, and she literally charts all day, and she goes long FARTCOIN as well. And guys, remember, charting is when you short FARTCOIN. It's not rude. We're keeping it very civilized there. Okay, what do we do now? Let's look at some farts. So can we get another scalp out of this thing? So in terms of keeping this very simple and very degen, we're going lows of this pivot move here where we got it earlier today to the highs. Where's our 618? Bang, 255. Okay, there it is. And what don't I like? Ooh, I don't like that. Okay, so that is not tying in for me just yet. So that is why I'm a little bit reluctant on another banger here on FARTCOIN until I get my reversal on my oscillator. Now I'm watching the 30 minutes. Let's see if there's a 15-minute reversal here. Not quite yet. Okay, so I'm sitting this one out for FARTCOIN. So now we wait. What I like to see is the hot zone getting hot, and I want to see that oscillator reversing. Okay, so when we get that nice little combination, then we start looking for these degen scalp plays. And right now, FARTCOIN is very responsive, and it's really tying in very nicely to a couple of these things. So I've been obviously focusing on it, and I'll drop more. I'll drop more tomorrow. Okay, let's talk what's left with me in 𝗏𝗏𝗃 here. So had a beautiful Sol long, okay, from yesterday. That is closed nicely. Then we've got the Sol head short out of the VWAP and the resistance band. We've got a 𝗬𝗰 head short in play. I've got quite a big ONDO now, and I've opened up the head short for ONDO after that CPI pump. And we've got Link, and we've got still Bonk from yesterday. Okay, so we've taken profits. We banged out a couple of head shorts in these zones. And why are we doing that? Because I like that CME gap at 86, and I still think there's liquidity to the upside, and I believe we might get one more push in the market. Okay, so that is the strategy. The head shorts are open in case I'm wrong, and they dump us and they send us straight to zero. Okay, so that's the play. Obviously, if you are net long and it keeps going down, well, you're eventually going to get fucked up anyway. Okay, so the idea is that if we get these dips, the shorts are going to protect you, and then we get little bounces in between. We can open up new shorts and things like that and play the game to the downside. But in terms of my positioning, I still believe there's a chance we're going up to the CME gap, and want to make sure we can capture some of that as long as we can survive any of these dips now to the downside. So I'm trading this stuff on 𝗏𝗏𝗃, guys, at the moment, and 𝗏𝗏𝗃's also no KYC. There's a link for you in the description. Now, let's talk ONDO. Let's update from yesterday. This was a nice mover, and what did ONDO do? It pumped into our first resistance zone. So you can see CPI news came out, and anybody who took ONDO yesterday, you can see a little bit of chop along the way, but nice little pump into our first resistance band. Okay, and this is these are our danger zones here. Okay, you can see these are the big areas that you want to pay attention to, and I highlight all of these for you guys, obviously in Hackers every day, so you understand where these zones are. Now, what do we do? For ONDO, you can see beautiful rejection. So what do? We go fibs high, low to the highs, and we start looking for this place, for this thing to start settling down. Now, some key levels you want to watch: 382.618. That's ideal. And then maybe a wick fill a little bit lower down. So I would say these are your key levels that you want to pay attention to. So let's take that one away. We're going 79.794. Okay, so now you can see we've had a pump, and our support has now moved up from yesterday. So 794 is your big support that you want to watch, and look out for a wick down to 77. Anything lower than that's probably getting a little bit bearish there, and things could be getting really ugly in the market. So look out for that. I'd like to see ONDO hold in terms of for what I'm looking for, and in terms of the current trade that I'm sitting in. So 794, and look for a wick into 77, and that could still be considered relatively bullish there. And then we'll be looking to visit these zones to the upside. So look for that, bang, and then look for something along these lines into one of these danger zones here. You're probably going to get a rejection in one of those areas. So that would tie in with Bitcoin pushing into 86K. If that is the case, well, then you ride this thing up to 86. And remember, if not, you've got all your reaction zones to the upside. So if you're sitting in longs, you've got all these zones where you can get possible shorts, where you can get your TPs. You can do all these things in those areas. Okay. Dylan says XRP has been okay for some small wins. Guys, look, the conditions are so choppy at the moment, and yeah, it's just is what it is now. So now we just got to fight our way through all of this stuff. And if you're getting small moves and you've got screen time and you're happy to sit in front of the screen, go for it. Okay, that's why we've got a scalping team for you guys in Hackers as well, so they can sort you guys out. Chaos, why are you trying to tickle my like buttons there, bro?
Treat the like button like Michael Jackson. Just beat it.
Okay, let's go. Let's talk a couple of others. So here's 𝗬𝗰 for you guys. Anybody wants to trade some 𝗬𝗰 action? This is what we're looking at. This is 𝗬𝗰 on the 1 hour. And this was one of the setups we spoke about yesterday. So you can see in that chop, what did we get? We got a trend break. We got a retest. We got a pump. Okay, so a textbook, I would say. Textbook, break of trend, retest, and bounce. And now the question is, what happens next for 𝗬𝗰? So a little bit tentative on 𝗬𝗰 in terms of new longs. You can see I'm holding this the 𝗬𝗰 head short here. There, you can see I open it there, and let's see what the entry was. 2.33, okay, 2339, okay. So let's see where we are there. 2339. Why was it there? 382 rejection zone. Okay, market pumped CPI, feeling euphoric, altcoins printing, take profit, head short. Okay, at these big zones. What happens now? So 𝗬𝗰 looking a little bit bearish on the 1 hour. We've got bearish divergence in play. Look at that. So that generally paints a picture. So this is normally just a warning bell that we might see a little bit lower here. So for me, in terms of 𝗬𝗰, no reason to close that short until we get to a bottom here or a reversal print on this 1 hour oscillator. When we get that, that might be a sign for me to close that short, maybe flip long. Then we're going to have to see where we finish. Where's the 𝗬𝗰 going to land? So right now you can see this thing did bounce off 382 and VWAP. So, you know, that is a typical reaction zone. And let's actually see if our hot zone indicator did anything there for us. We've got to just move this one. Oh, this is the wrong version. Wait. Hang in there. There it is. Okay, let's see. We can put it in there. So you can drag and drop this thing now. You can put it in your own zones. Okay, you can move it around wherever you want. Okay. Let's see. Look, they gave us some fire. Look at that. They gave us the fire. Okay, so it is working. Okay, so 𝗬𝗰 support. 2.16. You can watch that one for now. For me, no reason to close that short. Okay, so you can see a net long at the moment. If 𝗬𝗰 is going to start pushing higher, what are you looking at? So in terms of upside, 247 banger, and then you've got 2.6. Okay, those are your two big zones to the upside that you're going to be watching. 247 and 2.6. Those are your big rejection zones to the upside. Look out there for 𝗬𝗰. So there's no fresh longs for me. You can see why based on what I'm looking at here. Let this thing fall over a little bit more. If it does pump higher, you're probably going to get more divergence. Okay, so look out for this, because you might even get a second divergent print, and that could just give you more confidence to start looking a little bit shorter on this thing. Okay, so just look out for that. Again, this doesn't mean it can't pump higher. It just means it can't print more divergence. So in terms of 𝗬𝗰, guys, you know the levels here. 2.47, 2.6, those are the big zones. And in terms of current area that it could push up to, 2.36 could make sense here for a little rejection there. And then in terms, if you long 𝗬𝗰, in terms of support, 2.17, use that 2.17 as your support marker for now. 2.17. Okay, then let's go Link. We know Link is in a bounce zone. Okay, and they all look the same at the moment. So again, a little bit scared of this thing. It's looking bearish. We've got bearish divergence on the 1 hour, not looking amazing. Let's see why this is potentially pumping now on lower time frame. Okay, DGen reversal. So DGen, guys, 15-minute guys, reversal in play. You can see. So that's why that thing turns a little bit bullish. If we're watching on the 1 hour, you can see the 1 hour says potentially a little bit more bearish to the downside. So, you know, just be cautious here with Link. You can see we've still got some Link action going on. Okay, this is from yesterday. Still waiting for this thing to decide what it wants to do. But in terms of support that you can watch now for Link, watch the lows. Okay, that's obviously going to make sense here. The lows on Link 12.77, and you're going to be watching 12.58. Those are your DGen levels. Now just be careful, guys. Look at that. That's bearish. Okay, wait for the reversal. If you want to ape and you want to add more, you typically wait for that. Okay, that is your ideal situation there. But if you want a guide, that's your low. So look at that. You can see nice candle there at 12.766. That's your candle low that you can watch. And then you've got your 618 back up here, 12.58. So anywhere in that region, you kind of want to hold. You don't want to lose that. If you lose that, it's looking a bit dark in the market. And PMG is saying, chop 𝗬𝗰. PEPE, yes, Horizon, I've got PEPE for you. And it's Horizon says, PEPE just broke the downtrend. Let's talk PEPE. What is actually going on? Max, because BTC says there's a huge squeeze brewing on PEPE. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 60% move in a short period of time. Okay, so it could require just a hair more patience. Okay, what is that? Could be weeks. We're coiling hard and flows are turning bullish. We are seeing divergences between buy volume and price structure. Anyway, he's planting a seed that something could be happening on PEPE. Let's remember the market typically moves together. So if ETH turns bullish, you'll see PEPE turn bullish and the rest of the market and things like that. It would be very weird if the market's falling down and PEPE just blows up. I mean, we have seen this in the past, but it would be pretty weird for me if that happens. But I wanted to cover you with PEPE today. 3 wallets bought $4.3 million worth of PEPE this morning. Okay, so people are spending money on this thing. Okay, so cool. And then in terms of big levels, here's the weekly chart. I just want to give you guys this to show you. We looked at a couple of charts earlier today, and we know these altcoins like to randomly pump. And when they do, the market's pumping, but you get these moves. Look at that, 300%, 100%. Here's another 200% here and things like that. So we know the market has it in itself to send these things very quickly. But in terms of, if the market's going to rip at some point, you typically want to be DCAing in on some good zones. Now, there's 2 big zones left for PEPE before this thing literally goes to 0. I mean, literally, it's hell down here at 154. At the bottom. Okay, we know we're going to get a massive bounce there. We know this. Okay, but it's far. So in terms of PEPE, this is your zone. Okay, this region here. This is the weekly chart. So I'm talking to the spot guys here. Anything down to, I mean, we've covered this before, but it's you can see your wicks. Okay, at 53, we see that. We've got 58. Okay, this is your weekly zone. Then lower down, you've got some more weeklies at this 40 zone. So 40 to 46. Is another big DCA zone. Now, if this thing is getting ready for some kind of 60% pump, it's probably going to take off from one of these areas. Now, it's not unusual for these alts to drop all this way down and then have some kind of pump up and then dip a little bit lower after that. That is, it's perfectly acceptable that can happen. And remember, if we're watching on a weekly chart, these moves are actually pretty big. If you ride this thing to the 50-day MA, 47%, and PEPE is still bearish. Look at that. There's our rising trend. If we pump this thing into the 50-day MA and trend, we're still actually bearish on this thing. So there are potential moves coming here, okay, for these things. And you just need to understand where you are in the context. So we don't need to get married to these tokens, but we can see there's potential moves in these types of areas. So PEPE is in a generally big zone for a spot trader, DCA guy, that type of region, possible big move coming. If this region fails, you need to kick back and wait. Here's your next spot zone where you can add to that thing. So at 43, at one of these zones, I expect a 30, 40, 50% bounce out of the market before they come and send us back to hell. So it would be pretty weird if they just kept dumping us all the way. But again, nothing can be surprising for us. No more memes for Frank. He's got an allergy. He quits. He's done with his memes. Okay, last one, guys. ENA. Let's talk about this. DeFi Mochi the other day, 2 days ago, says, do not buy ENA, even if it looks strong here. He says the current FDV is 6.7 billion, while investors got in at an average of 82 million. Okay, they are up 72x even in these conditions. He says, don't be exit liquidity. That is quite a scary thought, though, that the initial guys are still up 72x where we're sitting at the moment. And it's something to think about. So in terms of ENA levels, now we know there was a monster unlock. James, what was that number? It was a mega size unlock. It was like 1 billion or 2 billion. It was something crazy on ENA. So we know these tokens are unlocked, and we know some of these guys are sitting on them. But are they going to wait for more bullish conditions, or are they going to panic sell when you start losing some key levels? So in terms of ENA, let's just focus on a big level here, 32. Okay, if they start liquidating things and start dropping it, 32, guys, that's a zone where I would expect quite a nice bounce on this ENA. You can see there's a lot of chop here in those areas. So wait for 32. Could be a nice reaction there for you. Then the next one is going to be this 26, 32, 26. Those are your zones for ENA. That is where you're gonna get that action. Okay, I've overstayed my welcome here again. Obviously, guys, all the cool shits and hackers. I'm putting these charts in there right now for you guys. James, thank you, sir. See you later. Guys, yeah, play it safe. Again, you can see I'm not in many trades. I'm still sitting in that ETH situation. Are they going to come and lick me, or are they going to send me to 2-1? We're going to have to wait and see. Look, choppy days ahead. PPI tomorrow. Trump's probably going to open his mouth a couple more times this week. Is it up? Is it down? Again, anyone's guess as to what he's going to do. We can only play the big reaction zones. So if you get hard pumps on news, play your reaction zones at the upside. If you get hard dumps on news, play your reaction zones to the downside. That's really pretty much what we can do, okay, until they finish whatever their trade dance is. Okay, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Catch you later.